Alright, today sucked. I did not get any of the amount of work that I wanted to get done. My main goal was just to get client work done and finish the script. I got the client work done. I got a draft of the script. And I got my editor should be able to start working on it now, but I definitely could have got the script done today, and I did not. And I wanted to share a little reflection piece that I've been thinking about, because when I get into mini slumps like this, I'd say since Sunday, I got thrown into the week pretty weird because of that event. So I'd say yes, since Monday I've been in a little bit of a slump. Not bad days, but not, because I rank my days on a scale of 100, and I have like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And I've ranked the last 3 days 7 out of 10s. I think today might be a 6 out of 10. Maybe even they should be lower if I'm being just brutally honest with myself. But I wanted to share the problem that I am running into and kind of what my solution is going to be, and maybe it can be valuable. So one thing that I forget all the time is that the internal world I experience is what determines the external world, and it doesn't go the other way. Now, we are influenced by our external world to change the way that we perceive things internally, but that doesn't change the fact that at the end of the day, it's created internally, and therefore we can shift our beliefs. It's pretty well known, well documented stuff. However, it's remaining conscious of that idea and abiding by it that I just need to remember sometimes, because I don't think I make full use of my brain the way that I could when it comes to a lot of things in business. And I don't think anybody does, just to be honest, but I know I can definitely do more. So my, I guess, big jives with myself and where I'm not happy is, so long as this video is recorded by the end of this week, I will be like satisfied. Now, that doesn't mean that I still don't think I could be doing a better job with the outbound, because, for example, I had a bunch of people follow me, and they're pretty decently sized in the space that I could easily send a YouTube proposal to and probably sign clients, and I haven't done that. Now, I have 2 sales calls on Friday, both with some really good prospects, and I'm pretty sure the calls are going to be good to go, so I'm excited for those. However, the important thing that I'm looking at and thinking about right now is just this dichotomy between being a full-blown YouTuber and then being a business owner. And I know the media company umbrella encompasses all of it, but sometimes when I'm making a video, the pull of just wanting to be a YouTuber gets so strong, where I sit there and think sometimes, like, I could really just say, screw all this business clients funnel stuff and just run up a faceless channel, or even a faced channel, but doing just pure video documentaries, and get a lot more views because I could have complete freedom of topic and it would da-da-da-da. My mind thinks about that sometimes, and while it's definitely a possibility, I'm not sure about it yet. That being said, it's just difficult because, for example, this week I haven't done that outbound. I haven't built any systems for service delivery, and I haven't been focused on the business, which always is going to make me feel a little bit I don't know, just off. Same thing that when I focus on purely the business and not the YouTube side, I also feel off. So it's just balancing between those two. And I think what I have to do right now is sit and just kind of do a reset. So I've gone through enough of these at this point to understand that it's not a larger problem than it is, right? Like, this will inevitably be solved. However, what you can do is accelerate it, and my way of doing that is through creating micro changes. So one of those is going to be my environment. So I want to move my environment around, usually making sure things are very clean. It's a tendency I've noticed that when my mind is scattered, my environment gets scattered in very subtle ways. For example, like, this yellow bin's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be under that table, and it's not. Or, for example, where I put all my keys and everything, scattered, right? Just a whole bunch of stuff. Like, my laundry's not put away. So going and taking care of that stuff does wonders for resetting the mind. So I'm going to be doing that. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting because I feel so cut off from the world here when I'm working in Florida. And this is what I do all the time. But it's just kind of crazy to think about. Anyways, the other thing that I was concerned about was optics around the kind of videos that I make. And this has always been a lingering concern that I have, where I'm, of course, making videos on other people, and I understand that there's a negative pretense with that a lot of the people that make videos on other people have, where they're either too far on the spectrum of hating on them, and it's just a shameful thing, and then also from a strategic perspective, it's just not good to attack very powerful people in public. It just doesn't, especially for your own profit, doesn't really make sense. But then there's the other end, which is the overly just positive and kiss up side, where there is nothing valuable to really derive from this, because you can see the person making the videos clearly enamored by the person. And if I had to fairly assess myself, I'd say I fall more on the spectrum of the positive side, but mainly out of fear of being on the negative side. And with some of the videos, I think actually all the videos so far, I've had like a genuine interest in the person I'm making it on. But it's always something that when, for example, when I was sitting there to write this script today and working on it, in my mind, there are things that I would want to talk about on this video that are opinionated. And I don't think it's right to be opinionated in the story. Now, there's going to be a bias because I can't just lay out his entire life. That's not how it works. But I definitely can't be too strongly opinionated, and that's the thing I have to keep reminding myself, is my job is to remain as close to neutrality as possible while giving information and allow people to make their decision. And I think doing that so far has allowed me to kind of walk this gray area between, again, overly positive and overly negative. And I'll give you some examples. So the last two videos, both on Rob and TJR, they've personally, like, thumbs up, hey, this was a good video. And to me, that's just an indicator that, like, okay, I'm not stepping on people's toes. because that's something that I don't want to do. I don't think it's right. But I also don't want to avoid talking about certain things. So, again, it's a gray area, and I think I'm good, but these scaries are an essential part of what I think allows me to actually do a good job. It's funny, a science teacher that I had in the 9th grade, he said this to me. I never forgot it. Or he said it to somebody. I was on like a Zoom class playing Fortnite, but you remember he said it before, so and I was like, yeah, that's really smart. If you're nervous, you don't need to be nervous. And it applies to, and you can apply that to other things too. If you're scared, you don't need to be scared. And what that means is the fact that I am worried about this reputational thing and making sure that I cover in a tasteful way gives me the confidence that I will navigate the situation correctly. And that's kind of me disassociating to step forward from how I'm currently feeling, which is quite conflicted about what to include and not include on this video on Tate. But I know that I'll make a tasteful decision, and I'm not gonna leave in something that or write in something that I just don't think should be there and I don't think is respectful. Again, for example, I have no doubt that I could probably find information on his family that would add to the story or an opinion I might have, but to me that crosses a line where it's no longer about informing the viewer on the story of how this person became successful, and it now crosses over into, quite frankly, a job that's not mine. I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm making a YouTube video. So that's just some thoughts. And like I said, it is very normal to go through a period like this. Now, I'm lucky that I have my month planned out, because as long as I get this video recorded by the end of this week, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to be traveling at the end of next week, I think. So, yeah, I am, all intents and purposes, doing well, but I just need to get to a place where I can, like I said, when I haven't recorded, I get very anxious, because to me, recording is a very big burden. It sucks a lot of energy from me, and I know that it's an entire day's worth of work and a commitment of itself. So to me, it's very difficult to relax until I'm into the post-production phase on a video. So again, this is normal. This is what happens during this section. And week 1 of this month, record and get to the editor, which the hook he's already starting on, which I guess is a good thing. Week 2 is going to be about, depending on how these calls go on Friday, getting the business compensated back up again and like starting to fluff that up, because of course there's going to be some entropy when it comes to, I've stayed on top of communication and videos with existing clients. I've been cooking some really cool shit up and getting some good results, which I'm happy about. But I mean entropy when it comes to just the improvement of the systems around those things. So for example, the systems right now are pretty terrible at the business because I'm the person doing everything. So I, for the last year and a half, have kept this mental clock of when I'm posting for both myself and all these people, and I just run it in my head. But now it's getting to a point where that's not an effective strategy. So I want to work on that in week 2 and 3, while also overseeing the production. And then I also just want to get some bookworking done. Like you have to do taxes this month. I mean, technically you don't have to do it this month, but I'm going to do it this month. I have to still get stuff set up in the US here. I want to onboard some big clients to hit my goal of 10K MRR, which if we can do it, that's within 2 months of deciding to relaunch the agency. Because before I was literally just like making videos for people for free. So yeah, not bad. Things are going, but I definitely need to get productive myself, because when I'm such a small band the way that I am right now, when I'm not productive, the business halts, and that's not okay. So same thing with my emotional state, right? How I'm feeling is a direct reflection of company morale. So I have to get that back on track, because if I'm in a negative headspace, then everything becomes negative. So yeah, I need to get back on the wagon. And in the meantime, honestly, I think I spoke out all my worries. I don't even need to journal anymore, but I'm just gonna go to bed. I want to be getting up early again. That's another thing that I do when I'm out of the whack, is I start going to bed and waking up late, which I hate doing when it comes down to like productivity and the way life works, especially in wintertime where the sun goes down so early when you wake up later. But yeah, I'm gonna head to bed now. I honestly thought this was gonna be like a 2-minute rant, but somehow made a video out of it. Once again, if you're at this point, you are a weirdo, but I weirdly appreciate you watching this.